Hey everyone, I want to do a quick unboxing and initial impressions video for the Pietta 1858 Sheriff's model. Now this is the box it comes in, of course. It's marked for the model. I got mine at Cabela's for $225 shipped. Yeah, the box was a little ripped. It of course came in a different cardboard box for shipping. But if you purchase from them, you'll get their muzzle loading instruction manual, which is more generalized, a little thing, and your instruction booklet. It also has parts reference in the back for all of their models. So if you need to order a part, this gives you the numbers and makes it a lot easier to find the pieces you need. So like I mentioned, this is the Sheriff's model. It's shorter than the regular models. The barrel is 5.5 inches instead of 8 inches. They have a variety of barrel lengths, but this is one of the shorter ones. This one is 44 caliber. Black powder only, of course. First off, I can say that the finish is very nice. The bluing is dark. It's not patchy or anything. It was slightly oiled, so there's no rust, of course. The brass actually has a very nice polish to it. It's not quite mirrored finish, but it's very close. But I do have to mention that there was a scratch on my barrel. I'm not sure if the camera will pick it up. I'll try to get the light on it, but there's a scratch, right here. It came with that. Other than that, there are no marks on here, but there was one scratch. You can even feel it. It's deep enough to be felt. This is kind of your sight picture. There's the groove and the post in the front. So with the hammer forward, the sight picture is blocked. For its size, the Revolver is quite heavy. I believe this is around 3 pounds. The different models, of course, weigh differently because of the barrel lengths and the materials. I opted for the steel frame, and there are a variety of reasons why I decided on doing that, which I will cover later when I do a more in-depth review. The machining is very nice, surprisingly nice for what you pay for it. However, some of the edges are pretty sharp. I mean, even the barrel and the rifling, it's pretty sharp. The ramrod and the retainer for it has some sharp edges. Even the faces of the cylinder. It's just something to be aware of because it could potentially cut you. Some of these are very sharp. Even back here by where the nipples are. So just be careful with it. I also have to say, for its size, and consider that this is one of the smaller options, it is very front heavy, more so than, say, a single action Army. All the weight is in front, and it's further up on this gun than on the single action Army because of the loading mechanisms here for loading the black powder. And with an even longer barrel, it'll be a lot more front heavy. So just be warned. It does have quite a bit of weight to it for its size, just based on the materials. All the mechanical parts are pretty smooth. The ramrod here moves easily. It pops out easily, clicks back in quite firmly. So no problems there. The action is quite tight. There's very, very minimal wiggle. I mean, the slightest amount, but nothing to be worried about, of course. The grip fitment is also quite nice. It does have a little bit of overhang over the metal in some parts, but it's hardly noticeable. So it has a very plain finish. It's not glossy at all. It's a nice satin look to it, but I can say that it doesn't provide much grip. It's very slippery in your hands. So I'm sure I'll be doing some sort of grip making video at some point, and I'll make some other grips to, get a little better hold on it. But yeah, the grips do not offer much grip. Now when I talk about the action, I'm going to compare it to Uberti. We have a couple Uberti pistols, a single action Army in 45 Colt. We have one of their 22 revolvers as well. So I'm relatively familiar with their stuff, just based on experience. So I will do some comparing to this because it's, another Italian-made replica firearm, and they're essentially in the same class. So what I can tell you right away is that the hammer spring is a lot heavier than on either of those guns. It's actually pretty heavy. It's not hard to pull back or anything, but it's noticeably heavier, and it gives it a much different feel. It clicks very, very nicely into action, and yes, it is completely unloaded. But it clicks quite positively, and the cylinder locks up completely. It's still got that slightest bit of wiggle, but it's really nothing. So the trigger is a lot wider than the single action Army and Uberti guns, which is something I'm not used to. I'm sure people that haven't fired those really won't notice the difference, but those of you that are familiar with the single action Army, the trigger is a lot wider on this one, and it's not a problem. I may take mine down just because I prefer the feel of that thin trigger. So I just wanted to make that note that this trigger is a lot wider. Now the trigger's light, and I'm not going to dry fire because you don't want to dry fire these. You'll damage the nipple. So you never want to damage the nipple. So yeah, I'm just gonna hold my thumb in place. It's not the cleanest break, the trigger. And one thing I've noticed is that the trigger can actually catch when you reset it, and I'll include a little clip that shows that. But yeah, if you release the trigger slowly, it can tend to stick. So there's probably some sort of burr, or maybe the sharp edges are just contacting, and it's a little gritty. So I will be doing some modifications to that. I will fix that and let you guys know how I did that. I do plan to do quite a few modifications to this black powder pistol, and I will be making videos of that. I'll also do some shooting videos and a full-fledged review. Again, this was just the initial impressions, kind of give you some info on what it's like out of the box. But yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you're interested in this kind of stuff, you're interested in seeing some modifications, stay tuned.